So it's day two of what is likely to be a very fiery debate on Operation Sindoor in Lok Sabha. And top guns, whether it's the government or the opposition camp, they will be literally they're taking to the trenches for this warfare. So top guns from the opposition camp and the government will be part of this intense debate. It is believed Union Home Minister Amit Shah will open the debate today, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also expected to speak in Lok Sabha. On the other hand, Rahul Gandhi, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, first-time MP from Wayanad in Kerala, will lead the opposition charge in this debate. Now, on day one, the opposition tried to corner the Narendra Modi government, especially on the aspect of US President Donald Trump's repeated claims that he brokered a truce between India and Pakistan and used trade as a weapon. Also on the claims of 5 jets downed. They're demanding answers from the Prime Minister. In fact, the opposition targeted the government and demanded accountability for the Pahalgam massacre. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar presented their case, and very aggressively, not just on military operations, but also on foreign policy, and insisted that the ceasefire was not brokered by the American president, but was a result of India telling Pakistan through all interlocutors, which may have included the United States of America, that a ceasefire is possible only when Pakistan approaches India for a ceasefire through the DGMO route, which it did, according to Dr. Jaishankar, on the 10th of May, after multiple Pakistani air bases and radars were attacked and degraded.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का ओवरऑल पॉलिटिको मिलिट्री ऑब्जेक्टिव यह था कि आतंकवाद के रूप में प्रॉक्सी वार लड़ रहे पाकिस्तान को सजा दी जाए, और इसी वजह से आर्म फोर्सेस को पूरी आजादी दी गई थी कि वे अपने टारगेट खुद चुनें और करारा जवाब दें। और इस ऑपरेशन का उद्देश्य कोई भी युद्ध छेड़ना नहीं था, बल्कि फोर्स के डिमॉन्स्ट्रेटिव यूज से एडवर्सरी को झुकने के लिए मजबूर करना था। 10 मई की सुबह जब भारतीय वायुसेना ने पाकिस्तान की मल्टीपल एयरफील्ड्स पर करारा प्रहार किया, तो पाकिस्तान ने हार मान ली।
2016 के बाद क्या उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा कि हम घुस के मारेंगे और पाकिस्तान को आज वो उनका जो भी टेररिस्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है उसको खत्म कर देंगे? वही बातें तब की, वही बातें पुलवामा की बात की कि पुलवामा के बाद आज हमने हमारे लड़ाकू जहाज अब गए हैं, अब पाकिस्तान अब कभी भी भारत पर उंगली नहीं दिखा सकता। और उसके बाद आज दोबारा वही बातें कर रहे हैं, आज दोबारा वही बातें कर रहे हैं कि हम घुस के मारे, हमने ये किया, फलाना किया। और ये अब भी कह रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, अधूरा है, क्योंकि कल को जाके दोबारा पाकिस्तान कर सकता है। ये खुद कह रहे हैं, ये खुद कह रहे हैं, ये खुद कह रहे हैं कि इसके पश्चात भी पाकिस्तान कल को जाके कर सकता है। तो ये कैसा, ये जो सफल कैसे हुआ? फिर क्या सफल हुआ? आज ये खुद कह रहे हैं कि हमारा मकसद युद्ध का नहीं था। हम पूछना चाहते क्यों नहीं था, होना चाहिए था। आज उन्होंने खुद कहा कि हमारा मकसद जमीन लेने का नहीं था। क्यों नहीं था? पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर अगर आज नहीं लेंगे तो कब लेंगे?
कभी कभी हमारे प्रतिपक्ष के लोग ये पूछते रहे हैं कि हमारे कितने बीमार गिरे। उन्होंने एक बार भी हमसे यह नहीं पूछा कि हमारी सेनाओं ने दुश्मन के कितने विमान मार गिराए। 1962 में अध्यक्ष महोदय, चीन के साथ हुए युद्ध में जब दुखद परिणाम आया, तो हमने उस समय की सरकार से यह पूछे थे, लेकिन वह प्रश्न यह था कि हमारे देश की धरती पर दूसरे देश का कब्जा कैसे हुआ। 71 के युद्ध में, 71 के युद्ध में जब हमने पाकिस्तान को सबक सिखाया, मैं उस समय की सरकार को मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूं। हमने अपने राजनीतिक और सैन्य नेतृत्व की प्रशंसा की। हमने ये नहीं देखा कि किस दल की सरकार है, किस विचारधारा की सरकार है।
क्या ये जरूरी नहीं कि जेट गिरे, पर क्यों गिरे, क्या गलतियां हुई, वो महत्वपूर्ण है। संख्या महत्वपूर्ण नहीं सर, 35 ही राफेल है देश में, 35 ही राफेल है। अगर उनमें से कुछ गिरे भी तो देखिए सर, मुझे तो लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी क्षति हुई। दिन पे हमारे राष्ट्रदूत कहते हैं कि हम पाकिस्तान पर हमला करेंगे और शाम के 10 मई को सूचना आती है कि पाकिस्तान के साथ अब युद्ध पर हम परिणाम दे रहे हैं, सीज फायर हो गया। क्यों हुआ? हम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी से जानना चाहते थे, अगर पाकिस्तान वाकई में अपने घुटने टिकने के लिए तैयार था तो आपने क्यों रुका? आप क्यों रुके और किसके सामने आप झुके? किसके सामने आपने सरेंडर किया? किसके सामने आपने सरेंडर किया? वो अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति जो 26 बार आज कह चुके हैं कि व्यापार को लेकर उन्होंने भारत और पाकिस्तान को सतर्क किया और दोनों को मजबूर किया कि वो इस जंग को छोड़े।
That on the 9th of May, Vice President J.D. Vance called the Prime Minister, warning of a massive Pakistani attack in the next few hours. Prime Minister, in his response, made it very clear that if such an attack happens, it would meet with an appropriate response from our side. Now, sir, that attack took place and was foiled by our armed forces, and I think the House should collectively appreciate the performance of the armed forces in foiling what was a massive attack. Now, on the 10th of May, we received phone calls sharing the impression of other countries that Pakistan was ready to cease the fighting. Our position was, if Pakistan was ready, we needed to get this as a request from the Pakistani side through the DGMO channel. That is exactly how that request came. Now, I want to make two things very clear, sir. One, at no stage in any conversation with the United States was there any linkage with trade and what was going on. Secondly, there was, please listen. Secondly, there was no call between the Prime Minister and President Trump from the 22nd of April, when President Trump called up to convey his sympathy, and the 17th of June, when he called up Prime Minister in Canada to explain why he could not meet.
विदेश मंत्रालय की और विदेश नीति की आपकी सच्चाई 11 साल की तब सामने आई जब ये टकराव की स्थिति पैदा हुई। कितने देश आपके साथ आके खड़े हुए? एक देश का नाम बताओ जिसने आतंकी हमले की निंदा भी करी, और दूसरी तरफ पाकिस्तान के साथ देने वालों की देशों में चीन, टर्की, अजरबैजान, मलेशिया जैसे देशों की, और आपके साथ एक ने भी बयान नहीं दिया। आईएमएफ ने $1 बिलियन का लोन सैंक्शन किया जिसका विरोध भी आपने किया, लेकिन आपके विरोध को आईएमएफ ने नहीं सुना। वर्ल्ड बैंक ने $40 बिलियन के निवेश का प्रस्ताव पारित किया, तो उसी महीने एडीबी ने उसी मई के महीने में $800 मिलियन का लोन पाकिस्तान के लिए स्वीकृत किया। दूसरी तरफ यूनाइटेड नेशंस सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल के अंदर पाकिस्तान को काउंटर टेररिज्म ग्रुप का को-चेयरमैन बनाया गया।
The council underlined the need to hold the perpetrators, organizers, financiers, and sponsors of this reprehensible act of terrorism accountable and bring them to justice. The TRF has been designated as a global terrorist organization by the US government, and the same Pakistani foreign minister who took so much pride saying, I defended the TRF, says, well, now if the US has done this, we accept it. Honorable Speaker, sir, there are 193 nations of the members of the United Nations. 193. Only 3, apart from Pakistan, opposed Operation Sindoor. Only 3.
I mean, I think there are certain things he has not categorically said. So he has made some statements, but he is not categorically, for example, he has not categorically said that the US was not involved in the ceasefire. He has said Modi ji did not speak to Mr. Trump for a certain period. but he has not categorically said that the US was not involved. So that is interesting about it.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर नाम सुनने में देशभक्ति का लगता है, लेकिन असल में ये सिर्फ मीडिया पर किया सरकार का एक तमाशा था। कोई नहीं बता रहा है कि इस ऑपरेशन में हासिल क्या हुआ, कितने आतंकी पकड़े गए, हमारे कितने फाइटर जेट्स गिराए गए, कौन जिम्मेदार है, कौन किसकी गलती है। इसका हिसाब देने का दायित्व इस सरकार का है, मगर देश में सवाल पूछने पर ही पाबंदी है, क्योंकि ये सरकार सवाल सुनना ही नहीं चाहती है, बल्कि ये सरकार जवाबदेही से ही भागती है।
Big story coming in. The Congress party is not only benching Shashi Tharoor but also Manish Tiwari, and the BJP has hit out. The BJP says Congress benches those who say Bharat Mata ki Jai. The BJP is saying Congress is promoting those who say Pakistan Zindabad. Congress's Manish Tiwari does a Tharoor after a snub. Congress MP posts Bharat ka rehne wala hoon. So that's a massive dig that's being taken virtually at the Congress party, and is it specifically at the Gandhis. Another Operation Sindoor envoy clearly at odds with the Congress party. But of course, I'll get you more on the story. But before that, we're getting a reaction from Pramod Tiwari of the Congress party. Let's quickly cut across and listen in.
आपकी ही पार्टी के दो सांसद शशि थरूर और मनीष तिवारी को लेकर कई सारी चर्चाएं जारी हैं कि लोकसभा में उन्हें बोलने नहीं दिया गया। मनीष तिवारी ने ट्वीट तक करके कहा कि वो भारत के वासी हैं और भारत की बात बताते हैं। जो पुराना गाना है वो दोहराया है, तो पार्टी से नाराजगी चल रही है। आप एक तरह रणनीति बना रहे हैं सरकार को घेरने की, यहाँ पार्टी में ही एक दूसरा धड़ा बन रहा है।
मैं सीधे से बात कहना चाहता हूँ, कांग्रेस पार्टी संसदीय दल में किसी तरह का भेद नहीं, लेकिन स्पीकर बोलने वाले सीमित होंगे और जो स्पीकर बोलेंगे वो कांग्रेस का पक्ष रखेंगे। बहुत से लोग छूट गए, इनमें ये भी।
के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो रणनीति स्पष्ट दिख रही है सरकार।
So more reactions that are coming in because the BJP is on the war path. The BJP says the Congress is not on the same page. In fact, those who know the truth about Operation Sindoor and leaders like Shashi Tharoor clearly know foreign policy. Leaders like Manish Tiwari understand national security and foreign policy, and they know what India was able to achieve through Operation Sindoor, and that is why they are not on the Congress list of speakers trying to target the Narendra Modi government on Operation Sindoor. Yesterday, Shashi Tharoor had made one thing very clear. He just said, Mon Vrat, Mon Vrat. We'll make you listen to that. BJP is saying Congress benches those who say, Bharat ka rehne wala hoon, Bharat ki baat sunata hoon. Hai Preet yahan ki reet sada. Now, Manish Tiwari, he put out that song, very, very clear. Are there divisions out in the open within the Congress party? I want to cut across to Rahul Gautam, my colleague who joins us for more on the story. Rahul, bring us details. What's the thinking within the Congress party? Okay, give me a moment as we try and reestablish this link with Rahul Gautam. But listen in to that cryptic, of course with a smile, Mon Vrat statement of Shashi Tharoor.
मौन व्रत
सर कुछ तो बोलिए सर पार्लियामेंट में मौन व्रत होगा क्या, ये बस यही बता
मौन व्रत
सर कुछ तो बोलिए सर पार्लियामेंट में मौन व्रत होगा क्या, ये बस यही बता।
पार्टी के दो नेताओं को लेकर इस वक्त बहुत चर्चा हो रही है, शशि थरूर और मनीष तिवारी। मनीष तिवारी ने तो और ये कहा जा रहा है कि उन लोगों को बोलने का मौका नहीं दिया गया कांग्रेस पार्टी द्वारा ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पे, और साथ ही मनीष तिवारी ने एक गीत भी लिख दिया है ट्विटर पे कि वो जिस देश के वासी हैं गीत वहां के गाते हैं। पुराना गाना उन्होंने लिख के दिया है, तो इंडिकेट करते हुए
वो भारत जब का वो गाना गा रहे हैं ना, मुकेश का गाना है, वो है रीत जहाँ की गीत वहां के मैं गाता हूँ, मैं उस देश का वासी हूँ। वो मुकेश जी का गाना है, वो गाना उस भारत का गाना है जिस भारत में बांग्लादेश बना था, जिस भारत में पाकिस्तान के दो टुकड़े हुए थे। जिस भारत के अंदर इंदिरा गांधी जैसी आयरन लेडी ने खड़े होकर के पूरे विश्व के अंदर डंका बजाया था, जिसने निक्सन को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया था, निक्सन के टेलीफोन को नहीं आया था, निक्सन के जंगी जहाजी बेड़े को नकार करके पाकिस्तान के 2 टुकड़े किए थे। वो गाना उस दौर का है, वे उस दौर के भारत की बात कर रहे हैं।
के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो इमरान मसूद खुल के कह रहे हैं कि देखिए सवाल यह है कि जब युद्ध की स्थिति हुई तो उस वक्त पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर पे भारत ने कब्जा क्यों नहीं किया, और ये भी सवाल उठा रहे हैं कि इस दौर में पाकिस्तान के साथ मैच खेलना बिजनेस करने जैसा है, जो कि बिल्कुल एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है। तो कुल मिलाकर सदन के अंदर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पर हंगामा तय है, चाहे वो लोकसभा हो या फिर राज्यसभा। वीडियो सहयोगी मैनुअल के साथ में अमित भारद्वाज, दिल्ली।
है प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा, मैं गीत वहां का गाता हूं, भारत का रहने वाला हूं, भारत की बात सुनाता हूं। जय हिंद। दैट्स कांग्रेस पार्टी मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट Manish Tiwari for you. Has he been benched? Joining me now on this India Today special broadcast is Dr. Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Gopal Krishna Agrawal is the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, he served extensively in Pakistan, was our ambassador in Europe, in Italy. He joins us on this broadcast. Also with me is Major General Sanjay Meston, was our defense attaché in Afghanistan, understands this region very, very well. Dr. Tripathi, let me begin by asking you, divisions in your own camp. First, Shashi Tharoor, Maun Vrat with a big smile. And now, Manish Tiwari quotes that very famous Mukesh song, भारत का रहने वाला हूं, भारत की बात सुनाता हूं। तो कांग्रेस कहां की बात सुना रही है?
कांग्रेस भी भारत की बात सुना रही है। मुझे लगता है हर कोई, आप भी भारत की बात कहते हैं, अपोजिशन भी भारत की बात कर रहा है और सरकार भी भारत की बात कर रही है। एंड इट्स गुड दैट मनीष तिवारी जी कह रहे हैं कि भारत की बात सुनाता हूं, बिकॉज opposition, when they're asking questions on the accountability, when they're asking question on responsibility, when they're asking valid questions from government, so वो हम सब भारत की बात सुना रहे हैं. So I don't think there is any kind of rift when you say we all are talking about nation, we all keep nation first, but there are some pertinent questions that need to be asked. When will the justice, the four terrorists that unleashed this cold-blooded murder would be brought to justice? There's many questions. Why is Trump calling ceasefire again after the whole Jaishankar ji's explainer on the floor of the parliament? Yesterday in Scotland, he said 29th time that, you know, I gave up a trade deal and India and Pakistan announced a ceasefire. So there's something, there's many questions that need to be asked, because हम सब भारत के हैं और भारत की बात सुनाते हैं, इसीलिए we are asking these questions.
Fair enough, and I'll get Gopal Krishna Agrawal to respond to this in just a moment, and whether Dr. Jaishankar was able to respond to that. I also have Tom Vadakan who joins us on this broadcast. Tom Vadakan, you've also been a part of the Congress Party once. Before I bring in Gopal Krishna Agrawal, sir, what's your appreciation of Shashi Tharoor from your state, sir, now saying Maun Vrat, and Manish Tiwari's this very famous Mukesh number, है प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा, मैं गीत वही का गाता हूं, भारत का रहने वाला हूं, भारत की बात सुनाता हूं.
It's well said. I mean, this famous song, the lyrics, he has expressed what his thoughts are. Now, this filtration process of not allowing Shashi Tharoor to speak, then you have now Manish Tiwari. I don't know who all will they censor. Here the issue is opposition has a right to ask questions. But opposition, when it speaks the language of Pakistan, I'm sorry, there is something seriously wrong. You can ask questions.
Very grave charge that you are leveling, sir. Very grave charge. Huh? The opposition is speaking Pakistan's language. How?
Look at their reactions. They're asking questions which the Pakistani establishment is asking. And how can they do that? And then they say that they are with the country, they are for the nation. Well, that's bunker. You speak for the nation. You are hearing the foreign minister of this country making a statement. You don't want to believe him. The defense minister speaks. You don't want to believe him. You want to believe Munir. You want to believe what the Pakistan establishment is saying. I mean, it's unfortunate. So it is time that the Congress has a rethink on all these things. just by saying and blurting out certain things that they hear Pakistan saying, I don't think is taking them anywhere.
So that's an extremely grave charge against something that Anurag Thakur, your party MP, raised in Parliament. And stay with me as I bring in Dr. Tripathi once again. Dr. Tripathi, Anurag Thakur of the BJP said LOP should be leader of opposition. Here you have, Rahul Gandhi, who's actually behaving like leader of Pakistan or, speaking their language or words to that effect.
We should not respond to Anurag Golimaru Thakur because the way he said Lashkar-e Rahul, I want to tell him that Lashkar actually means an armed segregation. Lashkar actually means somebody warrior. So the way he has been, name calling Rahul, the way tumhari jat kya hai and things like that, I don't think nobody deserves a response to Mr. Thakur. But here, whenever we ask questions, 150 kilometer Pahalgam is away from the international border, LOC, and the 4 terrorists, they came in, and Jammu and Kashmir is a heavy militarized state. They came in, they unleashed a cold-blooded murder, and they went away. Nothing, no news, 100 days have passed. So we cannot we cannot let truth to become a casualty. And anytime we ask questions, because we are very, very proud of Gaurav. Let me put it very straight. We are very proud of the armed forces, the way they carried out everything, the whole operation and everything. But government needs to answer. Why is Pakistan not being cornered in the diplomatic world? Why there has been no heads that have been rolled here? And I hate to say this, but I want to bring in what I've heard Mr. Owaisi here say it, and as a Congress party, I should not say this, but being included in the multi-party delegation, he asked the very right pertinent question कि खून और पानी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता तो खून और बल्ला क्यों चल रहा है? There's an India-Pak march scheduled after 5 months later. How can we play sports with a country that came into our territory and killed our men and women? And that's what we are asking. And when I say women, there have been shelling in Punch where 13 people and somebody as young as 7-year-old Maryam Nawaz lost life. And that's when we say when Anurag Golimaru Thakur stays up in Parliament, he should be known that the 22 children who were offered in the Punch shelling, Rahul Gandhi has decided to adopt them. So that's Rahul Gandhi, and we don't need to answer Anurag Golimaru Thakur. But anytime we ask question, we are talking about Munir, we are talking about Pakistan. Nahi, hum bhi Bharat ke rehne wale hain, hum bhi Bharat ki baat karte hain, and we will keep asking questions because Rajnath Singh didn't mention for once even he didn't mention China, and Lieutenant General Rahul Singh in Mumbai, he went on to say that we were not fighting.
There are multiple questions that you've raised. Let me get Gopal Krishna Agrawal to respond to that. I'll also bring in our defense and foreign policy analysts to respond because as far as India Today is concerned, we want our viewers to get a full picture even beyond politics. But Gopal Krishna Agrawal, respond to very pertinent points that Dr. Tripathi is raising on this broadcast as part of Congress Party. They're saying you can't just get away by saying just because they're asking questions, they are Pakistanis or they're spokespersons of Pakistan or lawyers of Pakistan.
Gauravji, nobody is saying that but just because asking questions, opposition is becoming Pakistani supportive. It is the format of the question, the content of the question, and they are not believing what the government, Indian government officials, ministers, etc. are saying, but they want to believe outsider. That is one thing. Second is what Manish Tiwari ji today said is a very important message to the people of the country and to Congress also. He said, Bharat ki baat karta hu, Bharat ki baat sunata hu. That means who is against India? We have been telling and requesting opposition, Rahul Gandhi, don't undermine country's sovereignty at international platforms. He is continuously doing it. Now recently other reports have come how they have aligned with international narratives which are not conducive to India. They have given them supportive statement which have been leveraged by Pakistan, China at international platform. These are the questions which everybody want to know from the Congress. And their questions have been answered. They are not, issue is not why they are asking. They have asked several questions. They have been answered. They are not acknowledging the answer, not accepting the answer, not even acknowledging, not accepting when categorically it has been said that there was no intermediation. Why can't they believe it?
Fair enough.
Categorically, it has been said that no trade talks were involved or pressure was involved in ceasefire. It was the Pakistan DGMO which has said. when Raksha Mantri has said so many things very clearly that no important asset of Indian military has been destroyed, and we have destroyed so many Pakistani military assets. They have not even appreciated at once that our military has been successful in destroying Pakistan military assets. Why can't she say here that we appreciate it? Now, yesterday also, four under Operation Mahadev, four terrorists have been neutralized.
Three.
Why they can't appreciate it?
Okay.
They will just be negative. It is the question is why they are negative to national interest.
Two very
Is the
pertinent
question I
points have
want
been
to
raised
ask.
by the Congress and the BJP, and I now want to bring in our defense and foreign policy analysts on this special broadcast. And Ambassador Dogra, you've served in Pakistan. You understand Pakistan very well. Sir, repeatedly the opposition says, and of course they're quoting the American president, despite the external affairs minister saying there was no US intervention, the American president once again said he intervened, he used trade as a tool to get India and Pakistan to have a ceasefire they'd been fighting. Initially he said 1,000 years, then he says 500 years. Even though India says no, there was no intervention, and you heard the external affairs minister yourself. Your appreciation, sir, has the government come clean on it, or they still haven't? Are they hiding, as Priyanka Gandhi Vadra said after the external affairs minister spoke, that there is still no clarity whether or on the role that America played?
Well, normally I don't like to comment on internal political issues, but on this one, I'll just say one thing, that America or American president has not given chapter and verse about the conversations which may or may not have taken place between American interlocutors and their counterparts in India. Whereas Mr. Jaishankar and others in the government of India have clarified with timelines and persons concerned the telephone calls which were held between India and America. And he's also clarified that no telephone conversation during this period took place between Trump and Prime Minister Modi. So I think the matter should rest there as far as India is concerned. But I want to bring in some additional points.
Yes, sir.
It is naturally the right of the political parties to debate in the parliament. And that is also the expectation of the country, of the people, that they, via the debate in parliament, get informed on the issues involved and both sides of the issues. So that is the sign of a healthy democracy. But my appeal today in Lok Sabha and also to the debate which will take place in Rajya Sabha on the issue is that besides this, whatever happened in Operation Sindoor, and it was laudable, there should also be some debate about the threat which our military spokesmen have repeatedly pointed out in the last few days, that we were fighting with Pakistan, but there were some actors behind the scenes, which was an equally serious issue, namely China and to some extent Turkey also. So in the days to come, hopefully nothing would flare up, but you cannot leave that to chance that in the next week, few weeks, next months, and so on, that Pakistan would be up to some other activity. And this time, China may play a more active role. So I think in the debate, that issue about what are the threats which India is likely to face and how are our preparations is equally important as a discussion on Operation Sindoor about what had happened.
Pertinent point you raised there, and especially on the aspect of future threats that India faces, there should be a constructive debate, and perhaps that is what we expect in the temple of our democracy. But on the point of losses, Jel Meston, and you're a soldier. There is combat that's happening, and it's active combat, and as Ambassador Dogra said, likelihood of future combat with a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror, Pakistan. The point they're raising is, Congress wants to know, or the opposition wants to know, how many aircraft did we lose? Rajnath Singh says, not once has the opposition asked how many aircraft did we destroy. Now, is it pertinent? And I want to know your military perspective. How important is it for the government to come clean on how many aircraft, if at all, we've lost, the tactical mistakes that CDS refers to, the initial constraints that our naval attaché referred to, all of that, should the government not come clean on it in Parliament?
Gaurav, from the military perspective, I would be very clear. Firstly, in war, it is well established there are only winners, there are no runners-up. So keeping that in mind, I think in this war, the winners were India. The Indian Army or the Indian Armed Forces has done a brilliant military maneuver, and we have emerged on the top, and we have achieved our politico-military objective. So therefore, what needs to be celebrated and discussed is what have been our achievements. This has been a great thing, and I think after 71, this is the first time that we have hit the heartland of Pakistan. And when I say heartland, it means Pakistan, Punjab. We have hit firstly the 4 terrorist camps over there. And besides that, thereafter on 10th, we have done a devastating effect on the military, on their air bases, and also on their radar sites. And this was acknowledged and seen by the entire world, including the Pakistan people have seen the impact of the Indian bombardment there in these military bases or air bases. So therefore, that has been a success story. Now in combat, in any kind of combat, let's today analyze Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, Israel, Iran, Hezbollah, then United States, and of course Iran. There were military losses, and there is no doubt that when combat is there have to be some military losses of any kind.
So come clean on it. Where is the problem of giving out that information if there are losses? Gaurav Gogoi of the Congress Party says if there are losses, it's important to know if an expensive aircraft has been lost. Why not give details? He of course said 35, but for the benefit of India Today viewers, 36 aircraft have been acquired from France. But be that as it may, General Meston, quick 30 seconds. Should that information be given out or not?
Why it should not be given out is basically the enemy will exploit it. I will tell you how. See, after all, these are 5th generation, 4.5 generation aircrafts, or some kind of possibilities are there that the enemy will come to know whatever, if there has been any weakness on certain account. And I feel that there is no technical or tactical. Basically, perhaps the CDS had alluded to the tactical aspects. And after that, we have realized the mistakes of tactical aspects, and thereafter we hit them so hard on 10.
Okay.
None of the aircraft were affected.
Fair enough. So you are saying it will benefit the enemy. And Dr. Tripathi, I want you to respond to that. Why is it that the Congress Party, as General Meston says, in any tactical information, any military information about losses will benefit the enemy? Even if the enemy thinks he's downed an aircraft, even if the enemy knows through China they've downed an aircraft, why should Government of India or the Air Force be under pressure to reveal that information? What does the Congress gain or the opposition gain with this information coming out in public domain? I want you to respond to that in just a moment. I also want you to listen in to the External Affairs Minister who says after 26/11, there was an opportunity to hit Muridke and Bahawalpur, but the Congress Party ruled it out. The then government ruled it out. So that government that did not hit Muridke or Bahawalpur is now asking a government that has hit Muridke, Bahawalpur, 9 terrorist training camps, 11 air bases, radar stations, 13 in all, that you should have done more. Listen in to Dr. Jaishankar. I'm coming to you for more on this.
There was no call between the Prime Minister and President Trump.
External Affairs Minister Jaishankar from the floor of Parliament categorically denies US President's claim that he brokered peace during Operation Sindoor.
There was no call between the Prime Minister and President Trump from the 22nd of April when President Trump called up to convey his sympathy and the 17th of June.
He also laid to rest speculation about Washington's claim that trade was used as a weapon to ensure peace. Setting the record straight, he said that only US Vice President J.D. Vance called Prime Minister Narendra Modi to say Pakistan was planning an attack on India.
That on the 9th of May, Vice President J.D. Vance called the Prime Minister, warning of a massive Pakistani attack in the next few hours. Prime Minister, in his response, made it very clear that if such an attack happens, it would meet with an appropriate response from our side.
Jaishankar's clarification comes even as Trump again repeated his claim that he mediated the ceasefire.
The 5, now this would be 6 that we've stopped. I've stopped 6 wars in the last, I'm averaging about a war a month. But the last 3 were very close together. India and Pakistan and a lot.
Meanwhile, Congress MP Priyanka Gandhi questioned Jaishankar's remarks, claiming he had not explicitly ruled out US involvement behind the scenes.
I mean, I think there are certain things he has not categorically said. So he has made some statements, but he has not categorically, for example, he has not categorically said that the US was not involved in the ceasefire. He has said Modi ji did not speak to Mr. Trump for a certain period, but he has not categorically said that the US was not involved. So that is interesting about it.
AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi too questioned why Trump announced the ceasefire.
सॉवरेन का मतलब यह है कि हम खुद मुख्तार हैं, हम हाकिम आला हैं, हम अपने मुल्क के मुकद्दर का फैसला करेंगे। एक गोरा व्हाइट हाउस में बैठकर भारत की सीज़फायर का ऐलान करेगा, यह आपका नेशनलिज्म है।
While Trump continues to claim credit, the Modi government remains firm that the ceasefire was its sovereign decision, not brokered under pressure or persuasion. Modi government's message is clear. When it comes to national security, Bharat bows to no one. Bureau Report, India Today.
Dr. Tripathi, quickly would you want to respond to the points that the government or the BJP has repeatedly raised? The fact that after 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, 166 people were massacred by these 10 Pakistani terrorists who came in, and Muridke wasn't hit, Bahawalpur wasn't hit. Earlier terror attacks, subsequent terror attacks, the epicenter of terror was never hit. It's been hit for the first time, and yet the government is being asked, you should have done more.
Because, Gaurav, abdication of responsibility and refusal of accountability has been the hallmark of Modi government. Whenever we ask questions, this was Operation Sindoor in 2025. Whenever we ask questions, the tendency is instead of making your line bigger, make others smaller. And that's what, they'll bring in 26/11, they'll bring in Indira Gandhi, they'll bring in Rajiv Gandhi, they'll bring in Nehru, but they will not ask question, why was ceasefire announced? I want to quote Gaurav Gogoi here that even if they asked for a ceasefire, why did you go ahead and announce the ceasefire? Home Minister Amit Shah on 15th May 2024 said कि हम POK ले लेंगे. 10th April 2025 he said कि हम POK ले लेंगे. And did we take POK? That's what we are asking. When you raise questions, the point is the 4 fingers remain on you. There have been many questions. Why this abrupt announcement of ceasefire? Why is if Modi ji and Trump did not talk on phone, there must be somebody who's counterpart to Jaishankar ji. Why isn't he picking up a phone and talking to his US counterpart and asking them why is he again and again 29 times? And he's not the booth president of Bharatiya Janata Party. He's the president of United States of America, the same president for whom they conducted this Howdy Modi and Namaste Trump events. He was so-called a very good friend of my good friend of Mr. Modi ji, and he is continuously insulting both the armed forces, also the people who lost their life in the terror attack, and he's not stopping anywhere. So there were many questions.
Okay.
Instead of raising हमने 26 लगे 11 पे ये क्या? The point is, why did you stop? Because let's face it, terror and army are hand in gloves. We saw the
there's breaking news coming in, and I want you to complete this point. But Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh will speak once again in Parliament. This time he'll be speaking in Rajya Sabha. So 1 o'clock today, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh will be speaking in Rajya Sabha. Will he be talking about what has happened at the Dachigam forest area? Will he be giving details of Operation Sindoor today at 1 o'clock in Rajya Sabha? Or will we hear from Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Lok Sabha about the Dachigam operations? Because from what sources in the security forces are telling India today, that this was a brilliant operation. Of course, the opposition already in hushed tones as of now asking questions about the timing of that operation and neutralization of those 3 terrorists exactly at the time when the parliamentary debate was to happen. But Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is to open the debate on Operation Sindoor in Rajya Sabha at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll get you more on that big story. I want to bring in Gopal Krishna Agrawal once again. गोपाल कृष्ण अग्रवाल, रिस्पॉन्ड. आप अपनी लाइन लंबी कीजिए, आप कांग्रेस की लाइन बार बार छोटी करते हैं. इज द पॉइंट दैट डॉक्टर त्रिपाठी मेक्स राइट फ्रॉम what Nehru did, what Indira Gandhi didn't do, what Dr. Manmohan Singh went wrong on 26/11. That's exactly why they're in opposition, sir. That they did not hit Muridke, they did not hit Bahawalpur. That's the reason that 2014 Narendra Modi was elected. But why did you agree to a ceasefire is the point that the Congress party raises. Even if Pakistan wanted it, you should have hit more.
No, the thing is, what Prime Minister has very clearly said that the response was measured and according to what the army was given, our armed forces were given free hand, how the response will be, what level of response it will be. Government was supportive to the one thing. Second is, when you are when Dr. Tripathi is talking about apni line badi kijiye, that's what foreign minister has said. He said that Munir K and other terrorist bases were hit at several times. There were 3 major terrorist attacks from Pakistan suspected to be originated from Pakistan. All the 3 have been very clear, categorically responded at whatever best was there. Second is important is that the opposition should also understand that there is a marked change in the anti-terror actions by the government. The government has said any act of terror will be considered as an act of war. This is a very important thing. And consider earlier Sharm el-Sheikh what the UPA said. So that is what we are saying, that there is a marked difference in how we deal with terror. The Operation Sindoor is still continuing. America has said that TRF is a global terrorist organization. That's a major win for India. This Indus Valley Water Treaty, after 78 years of independence, that has been done away with. It was how much harm it was creating to India, but still it was continuing. That is the policy.
So let's take this one by one.
This is the difference. This is the bigger line that we are putting in the.
Okay, that's a fair point that the government has drawn a much bigger line by targeting 9 terror camps and then 13 plus Pakistani air bases and radar stations. We're getting details of what Union Home Minister Amit Shah is likely to speak in Parliament. He will highlight, we are told, the integrated security grid that's been put in place. He will give details of the valor of our armed forces and especially our border guarding forces in the border area. He will also give details about India's biggest border evacuation that had taken place in the run-up to Operation Sindoor. He will cite aid to kin of those who were killed in Pakistan's firing and shelling along the line of control. And Pakistan has relentlessly tried to target civilians in India. And especially if you notice, there's a pattern to Pakistan targeting Hindus, Christians and Sikhs south of Pir Panjal, especially targeting a church, a gurdwara, a temple and other places south of Pir Panjal. Of course, they've killed people of all religions, but Pakistan Army has specifically targeted religious places of the Hindus, of the Christians and the Sikhs south of Pir Panjal. But that's one aspect. The Ambassador Dogra, merit in Dr. Jaishankar saying those who did not target Muridke and Bahawalpur after 26/11, and he cited an example of then National Security Advisor Shiv Shankar Menon saying we should target Muridke, but then government chose not to do so. And now not only Muridke and Bahawalpur targeted for the first time Pakistan's Punjab province, but across Pakistan from Skardu in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir to Sindh Bulari Air Base, Pakistan was targeted, and Malir Cantonment in Karachi.
Well, Gaurav, you put me in a very difficult position. Both the former NSA Shankar Menon and the present Foreign Minister Jaishankar are my friends and former colleagues. So I would not like to get into their political ping pong. But what I would like to stress is that there are some questions that the people of India are still seeking. Government has done a tremendous job of repeatedly coming to the people through various spokespersons and clarifying what they think may be doubts with the people of India. But I'm just repeating what I've heard on the street or in society.
Of course.
And the two questions are, number one, why did we miss people like Hafiz Saeed? The second question that people have is, why did we abruptly agree to ceasefire? Did we certainly we inflicted a lot of damage, almost unprecedented damage after 1971 on Pakistani military targets, including their air bases. But could we have done a little more? Could we have ensured that the damage or the lesson to Pakistan was so complete that there would not be any possibility of their repeating the mistake again, and they are rushing to China and Turkey for supplies
to rearm themselves,
which seem to have started all over again.
Yes. Absolutely. Very important point, and a point raised by Gaurav Gogoi of the Congress party, Jel Meston. If Pakistan was on a bent knee, and I have sources telling me that Pakistan was seeking a ceasefire, let them seek a ceasefire. Hit them harder. You know they're not anywhere close to the nuclear threshold. Hit them harder, hit them deeper. They've bled us for decades. Why were we so keen that, okay, you've hit us once, we will also hit you 1+. Make it 10+. Huh? Remember what late Sushma Swaraj used to say? Ek sir ke badle 10.
Yeah, absolutely, Gaurav. In any war or in any conflict situation, finally the intent of the better side is to get the enemy onto the negotiation table. And therefore, in this stance also, the negotiation or the offer of peace came from Pakistan. That means they were on their knees and we had the upper edge or upper hand. And therefore, I also personally felt, even that day when we were on the TV channels, that the ceasefire just came so abruptly.
Yes.
We should have exploited the advantage. You know, military exploitation of the advantage should have been there to our end. We should have at least had some negotiation to extract from Pakistan that they will cease this act of terrorism against India. So we have actually played into an enemy's hand by not taking out our advantage, what we had the advantage, and if they were not relenting, we should have continued to bombard everything of theirs, including we should have launched the Navy, because this was the most appropriate and opportune time to hit the enemy so hard once and for all, so that next time he should have thought 10 times if he has to attack India on any kind of a terrorist attack.
Gopal Krishna Agarwal, you must respond to this. You must respond to this. This is, and please understand, this is the country that believes you were hitting them. You were hitting them hard. Brilliant. Hit them harder. They've bled us for decades. And how long will our country suffer this Prithviraj Chauhan syndrome? You let a Muhammad Ghori go, he will come back and kill you the next year.
No, Gaurav, we have to understand that I am not a defense expert or military expert, and the Prime Minister has said that it was the military armed forces, those they had to decide on the things. It is the DGMO decision. Definitely government has aligned with it, but the thing is, final decision was of the armed forces, one thing. Second is that it is not only military effort that is important. Along with that, we have done about the Indus Valley Water Treaty is also an important issue for India. It was an opportunity that's what utilized. At the global level, the issue of the terrorist activity, identification of Pakistan with the terrorists, etc. is also important. The thing is, second is
like China, Turkey. Sir, you have to understand, countries like China and Turkey and Azerbaijan are still standing with Pakistan, and the same Turkey had contracts at 9 airports in your country.
With Pakistan, Gaurav, just today only. They are standing with Pakistan since long. There is a marked difference in how we deal with China. If I quote something, then you'll say why you go to history. Border roads are not built because Chinese army will come inside India. Now, almost more than 16 border roads have been completely built, and China has got a fitting response to their actions in Doklam and in Ladakh. So the issue, and we know how Aksai Chin history is there, what Dalai Lama issues at Tibet issue was there. We were the first to recognize Tibet. Why we did this? So the issue is we are moving in a way and changing our stance and changing our response to China, Pakistan, even Turkey. The first day, their trade interests have been completely demolished. So thing is, geopolitics, geoeconomics, strategies, water, all these issues together, we have to look into it.
Fair enough.
And
I have breaking
not
news
just
coming
a
in, and I'll
small
come back to
country.
this discussion. Our guests, stay with me. There's news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, and I quickly want to get you the latest on that. The National Investigation Agency has just rushed a team to Srinagar in an effort to identify those 3 terrorists who were neutralized yesterday in the Dachigam forest. And sources are telling India Today that there will be a detailed media briefing once there is positive identification of the 3 terrorists who've been neutralized. But that's not all. Remember, 3 terrorists were killed. Initial information seemed to indicate that this was a larger group, perhaps could be 5, could have been more. That was the intelligence input. So combing operations are still underway in the Dachigam area, and not just that area where these 3 terrorists have been killed, but now unmanned aerial vehicles are being used and other signal and electronic intelligence to get more information as part of this high stakes Operation Mahadev. I quickly want to bring in India Today's Jitendra Bahadur Singh, who's been on top of the story. Jitendra, इस समय क्या हो रहा है और आप हमें क्या बता सकते हैं जो 3 आतंकवादी मारे गए हैं, इनके बारे में एक आपके सूत्र क्या बता रहे हैं और औपचारिक तौर पर क्या जानकारी है?
देखिए गौरव, जो एनआईए की टीम है, एक टीम वहां पर भेजी गई है। सबसे बड़ी बात है कि पहलगाम में जो आतंकी हमला हुआ है उस पूरे मामले की जांच एनआईए के द्वारा पहले से ही की जा रही है, और इस पूरे मामले में एनआईए ने 2 लोगों को गिरफ्तार भी किया है, जो कि इन आतंकवादियों के जो कि इसमें शामिल रहे हैं उनकी मदद कर रहे थे। लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि अभी आइडेंटिफिकेशन जो है इन आतंकवादियों की चल रही है, और उसके लिए बाकायदे एक मीडिया ब्रीफिंग भी सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के द्वारा किया जाएगा। उससे पहले आपको बता दें कि जो आतंकवादियों के पास इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइस मिले हैं उनका आइडेंटिफिकेशन किया जा रहा है, और इसके साथ साथ उसमें जो कम्युनिकेशन लॉग्स हैं उसको खंगालने की कोशिश सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस और एनआईए के द्वारा किया जा रहा है कि इसमें किस तरीके से बातचीत चल रही थी और क्या जो है इसके इनपुट्स कैसे पाकिस्तान से डायरेक्ट कनेक्ट थे। इन तमाम चीजों की छानबीन इस वक्त की जा रही है। एनआईए की एक टीम मौजूद है जो कि पहले से ही इस पूरे मामले को लेकर के जांच कर रही है। इनके पास से कुछ मोबाइल भी मिला है जिसका भी डेटा खंगाला जा रहा है, और उसकी फॉरेंसिक जांच करने के लिए एनआईए की टीम इसको भेजेगी, ऐसी जानकारी मिल रही है। तो सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि आइडेंटिफिकेशन करने के बाद ऑफिशियल एक बड़ा जो है प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस, मीडिया ब्रीफिंग भी किया जाएगा, जिसमें बताया जाएगा कि किस तरीके से इन आतंकवादियों, जो 3 टेररिस्ट मारे गए हैं, उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट रहा है। इसको लेकर के बड़े कदम बढ़ाया जा रहा है। साथ ही विदेशी हथियार इनके पास से मिले हैं, M4 राइफल, जो कि सीधे तौर पर ये बताता है कि पाकिस्तान की सेना के पास जो हथियार मौजूद रहते हैं वही हथियार इन आतंकवादियों के पास मौजूद रहे, और पाकिस्तान की सेना इन हथियारों का जो कि अमेरिकन फोर्सेस इस्तेमाल करती रही है उन हथियारों को अपने पास रखती है और आतंकवादियों को देती है। ये पहले से ही जग जाहिर है। अब ये आतंकवादियों के पास से ये हथियार M4 राइफल बरामद हुआ है, जिसको कि ये अमेरिकन राइफल है और खतरनाक ये राइफल है जिसका कि इस्तेमाल आतंकवादी
And what kind of communication equipment? बिल्कुल, आप इस बड़ी खबर पर नजर बनाए रखिए। What kind of communication equipment were these terrorists carrying? How long did they survive, and how did they manage to survive for so long? What was the terror enabling ecosystem that came to their assistance? There are multiple questions that need to be answered. There's likely to be a press conference once this positive identification has been completed. Jitendra Bahadur Singh, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. My guests continue to stay with me on this big broadcast as we get you more details. So just about an hour to go for the Union Home Minister to speak in Lok Sabha, and about 7 hours to go for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to speak. So that big bang Operation Sindoor face-off between the government and the opposition remains our top focus story. There's another very pertinent point that AIMIM MP Asaduddin Owaisi has raised. He says that blood and water cannot flow together. How can blood and balla play together? How can you have cricket with a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror, even if it's multilateral cricket? The Government sources, on the other hand, saying if you don't play, you're giving a walkover to Pakistan.